What's up, y'all? Welcome to the BeanTown
Beatdown.
Matthew Burris here.
Gabe Shamus.
That's right.
All right.
Also, the Olympics. Cheers. Yep. The Olympics have started. I've watched some Olympic judo, some Olympic boxing, a little bit of basketball. Any events you've been watching?
Nope. I caught the opening ceremonies. I was actually the one that texted you about that. Remember?
Oh yeah, I missed Giselle, but I did see the.
I definitely caught Giselle.
But I did see when they lit the flame. All right, so let's get into some headlines. First and foremost, Andre Ward won his fight over the weekend.
Nice.
Which sets up the showdown with Sergey Kovalev. Sorry, I'm bad at pronouncing Russian names. That fight will take place November 17th on a Saturday night. That's actually the weekend after the UFC's first pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to order the Ward versus Kovalev fight, but it looks like to be a good fight, and it's good that Andre Ward has been on this comeback trail, and this has the potential of being fight of the year. Granted, if Canelo Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin's fights don't upstage them.
Gotcha. Yep.
And also in news today, Connor McGregor had some not so nice words to say about the WWE, saying that the WWE guys are messed up pussies. They said they're juiced up to the gills, and we're actually going to talk about it and chew on this. We're going to debate that.
Right.
Little hype for himself going into his fight next weekend.
So that's what you think it came down to?
A little bit of that, and also someone asked him how would you feel about a UFC WWE co-promotion, and he gave his thoughts. And in fact, Roman Reigns, the former two-time WWE champion, has said that, hey, my thigh is bigger than you, and says, I'll crush you. In fact, TMZ actually caught Sheamus, one of the wrestlers there, and he asked him about Conor McGregor, of course, being the Irish guy that he is, he's going, oh, I'm not afraid of him, I'm not afraid of him, I'll beat his ass.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. And
if you don't fight with an Irishman in the bar, then maybe it's even worse to fight with the Irishman outside of the bar.
Yep,
when he's not drunk is what I mean.
Yep, that's probably true. And also, I've been meaning to bring this up, but there's actually going to be a boxing movie coming out soon. It is the story on Chuck Wepner, the real Rocky Balboa, the inspiration for the Rocky film.
Okay, gotcha.
It's called The Bleeder because Chuck Wepner, as we talked about on our Unsung Heroes of Boxing show.
Yeah.
He was the inspiration behind the Rocky film, and his nickname was the Baymon Bleeder.
Really?
Yeah, because he bled a lot in fights. And of course,
I'm guessing that's something they didn't want to bring on into the movie.
Yeah, but it looks like I looked at the cast and looks like a good cast. From the show Ray Donovan, we have Liev Schreiber playing Chuck Wepner. Okay. A little curious how he's gonna pull that off. I mean, because Chuck Wepner was a little heavy, and stuff. And of course, his co-host, Pooch Hall, he's going to be playing Muhammad Ali. I think he can pull that off. Maybe not as good as Will Smith, but
yes.
We'll see. And Michael Rappaport, he plays Chuck Wepner's best friend in the movie. Also playing Chuck Wepner's second wife will be Naomi Watts.
Okay.
And also, this is going to be big news for you because you're a Mad Men fan.
Yeah.
Playing his third wife will be Elizabeth Moss.
Oh, okay. Well, that's interesting. She was
Peggy.
Peggy. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say she wasn't Peggy, but yeah, January Jones is Betty. She's Peggy. Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yep. And also, there's one guy, I forget his name, but he's supposed to play Sylvester Stallone.
Really?
You know, yeah, I guess, yeah, because Stallone was at that fight and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, of course, I don't think he's going to be able to pull off the Stallone look because I looked at his picture on International Movie Database. I mean, I looked at one picture. He looked like an early Robert Downey Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that'll be something to see what they try and do with that.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, if you're a fan of, Liev Schreiber, of course, he's the one who does narrations on HBO for their sports documentaries, including boxing when they do the 24/7.
Right.
And he's also, of course, more famous for his role on Ray Donovan, playing Ray Donovan, whose family owns a boxing gym, and of course, playing Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yes.
So, looks like to be a good movie. I mean, I'll have to see a trailer to see if I'll want to go watch it. But other than that, looks like a good cast, and go check it out if you get the chance.
Okay, for sure.
And now it's time for Macho Doesn't Mean This. So, Gabe, take it away.
All right. So today I'm going to be talking about something that definitely just hit me. I was like, we've got to be talking about this today, which is, we talk about the type of, a lot of times when you're like, what do I have to do to be more powerful, or what do I have to do to influence more people or to be more successful? A lot of times that we're told you have to attain something, right? You have to go out there and get it. Yeah, you do have to go out there and get it. That's part of why I came here to the East Coast. You have to be driven. You have to, go and make it happen. One thing I did not learn in California was, if a crosswalk light is blinking away, I used to stop if it was like at 4 seconds, and wait. But late here in Boston, you turn 4 seconds into 6. But anyway, stuff like that. But the other side of the coin is actually not getting something. It's not attaining something. It's actually letting go of things, and that's something we're not taught very well. We're not. We don't have the same amount of emphasis put on that type of stuff. You not only have to go and get things that are better for you, you actually have to let go of things that are not as good for you. Case in point, if you want to stay around, if you're used to sitting around playing your video games, it doesn't mean you have to give it up completely, but in order to go out there, in order to go out and get that thing, as they say, you actually have to first let go of the video game controller and step out the door.
Oh yeah, but that's hard, because
yes, it's hard.
There's Madden, there's World of Warcraft, WWE 2K games.
Yep.
For me, it's NBA 2K.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's actually very hard, right? And for some people, that's the hardest part. The going and getting, go getter. The grabbing the bull by the balls, whatever the saying is. That's so for some people that's easy, and especially in our culture, it's like go. I've noticed myself being in the same mode. I've been like I have 3 hours until work. I have to do these certain things before I get there, and you kind of set yourself up to feel bad, like, oh, I only got 1 out of 3 things. But anyway, part of that is how well you do it, and so you could do one thing a lot better than if you just had to click on down the list 3 things to get done. But anyway, even besides all of that, underneath all of that is the harder thing for some people, which is putting something down, letting go of something. Put down the game controller, put down the TV remote, put down your cell phone, that type of thing. And that's actually the first step in really going for it. You know, and it really could be anything. It could be, you know, it could be beer. It could, you know, there's certainly a lot of us are dealing with addictions, you know, and so some of us have to also put down the beer for a little while, have to put down, you know, the pipe, the bong for a while. You know, any such thing as an addiction, it actually takes up your time, and you know, while you know your determination is a good resource, your time is what actually is the most important thing in a way. And it makes it happen. Your time is what makes it happen.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I got two examples. Like, you know, like if you want to, I mean, like for example, I know that if I wanted my dating life to be better, I had to. I mean, because there were times on Fridays and Saturday nights I would not go out those nights because it would be, you know, there would be a fight on it. It's like, oh, gotta watch this fight. Even though I have DVR, you know, it's just like, oh, I like to watch it, and you know, I like to see it when it happens, and blah blah blah. And then I realized I was like, you know what, I've missed so many opportunities to meet a nice girl for a fight.
Yeah. And
then I said to myself, you know what, I really gotta start, you know, prioritizing. I mean, so like that's why. You know, of course, I'm kind of taking a break from the dating scene, but when I do get back into it officially,
right? You
know, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm not just gonna blow off. I'm not gonna keep blowing off things just for a fight. You know,
exactly. And you're right that there's a historical significance of watching something live. You know, that is a good thing, and it, you know, I get into that too. In fact, I was, you know, when I texted you about the opening ceremonies, I was like, I get the chance to watch this live, isn't it? It's great. And you were like, I'm going to see it on YouTube later. And I was like, but you don't understand historical significance. Anyway, you know, that was my thing. But you get into your thing about the historical significance of fighting, and that there's something to be said for that. But, you know, especially on a Friday night, there's also historical significance. There's also happening right at that same time a girl down at that bar that you could go find. You know
exactly. And also with when it comes to addiction or like letting go of something, or putting the beer down or whatever. I mean, I've been clean and sober for almost 2 months now. I mean,
which for you is no small feat. I've seen it.
Well, yeah, you know, because especially on. You know, especially on nights when there are big fights, you know, especially the McGregor Diaz fight that's coming up, you know, this weekend. You know, it's like, you know, those are that's one of those fights where you definitely want a beer in your hand. And of course, I've gotten used to not having a beer in my hand now. I mean, because I've been, you know, I've been drinking juice and and also energy drinks, and also I developed I started relying more on the energy drinks thing, and I had to stop that. I had to like, oh, okay, I really got to cut down. And you know, I went 2 weeks without it, and then I had one last week. But and also,
yeah, so that's a good point. That that you know, there's that sometimes it's not that you have to have it. Sometimes it's that you know gotten used to having it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you say that a lot. You say you definitely want a beer in your hand for this fight, you know. But as you just said, you've adapted to find ways of not having a beer in your hand, you know, during these months.
Yeah, and of course, energy drinks can be addictive too. Yeah. I mean, because I love energy drinks. I mean, just to name a few, you know, Kickstart, Rockstar Energy Drink, the flavored Red Bulls, and I drink a little bit of Monster, not a whole lot, but it was to a point where I would drink like 2 or 3 in one day, and I really started getting really addicted to it, and then I had to cut down on it. I started cutting down. I quit for like maybe 3 months, and then I started drinking again, thinking like, oh, I can I can always have one and stuff like that. And then I started a little bit again, you know, like getting a little more addicted to it, and then a few years ago, I saw this news article about a girl who died during spring break. She was a teenage girl. She died, and it was because she drank lots and lots of energy drinks. She had no water.
Oh,
Jesus. No water. And
Jesus, yeah.
when I saw that was my wake up call.
Right.
I was like, that was my wake up call, and I was like, okay, I really got to cut down on this, and I really have, and for the most part, I have been I have cut down on it. I haven't stopped completely, but I got a good handle on caffeine.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good, and yeah, I do agree that can be just as addictive. I mean, there's it might not be like psychological, like drinking or like or like weed, but there is something definitely that happens, and sometimes that like jitteriness actually does change your brain a little bit, and you actually do get hooked on that, and so yeah, it could be anything. It could also be TV. For me, like I said, I don't play much video games, but I'm watching the TV all the time, that type of thing. So anyway, there's all sorts of things in this culture that don't actually, that are good to unwind, but don't actually serve you. And so, like I said, half of making it happen is not just the getting up and getting out, which we focus on, but the leaving something behind. And so, and this is not just, like kind of in the immediate, like as right before you leave the door, or like, addictions are not just immediate, but even beyond that, I think it's also, spiritual, frankly. I think it's also, about your beliefs and your day-to-day life and your mindset. And so sometimes it's not something so tangible as, as your cell phone, as your TV, as beer. Sometimes it's also things in your head that you actually have to give up as well. And that might not be that might be even that might be harder to grasp, but I actually don't think it's any more hard than putting down the beer or turning off the TV. There are some friends that don't serve you anymore. There's a lot of memes I've really appreciated on Facebook. They're like, if your friend doesn't do this, then are they a good friend? Or I'm the guy who's always there for you and helps you out, blah blah. Or if you don't truly appreciate who I am, then unfriend me now, stuff like that. And I think that's exactly right. I think that's a response of us trying to get of us being so alienated and kind of surrounded by fake friends, and trying to get back to something more real.
By that, you just described almost every actor and actress in Hollywood.
Yeah, probably. I mean, yeah, that's the peril of going into a profession where you're going to be, recognized, where you're going to be famous, is.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why most of them become like train wrecks. I mean, for example, Tara Reid. I mean, like, that bitch she was on. Hey, I got no problem. I mean, she probably doesn't watch this anyway, and if she does, hey, I said it.
Yeah.
Whatever. But she was, she was on Marriage Boot Camp Reality this past season. I've actually missed the past 3 episodes, but from what I heard.
Oh, God forbid you missed the past 3 episodes of Marriage Boot Camp Reality, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah. But she was, she actually admitted in a news headline that she was on that show just for publicity and for money. And I was like, oh, you money-hungry bitch. I mean, I have lost so much respect for her.
Right.
I mean, like, even in the way she, I don't know, did you hear about the way she acted on Jenny McCarthy's show?
Nope.
Like, she was there to promote Sharknado 4.
Oh, okay.
And, she was, Jenny McCarthy.
Good God, there's a Sharknado 4. Okay, anyway,
yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that's so bad it's good.
Right.
But the way she was just such a snotty little twat on Jenny McCarthy's show, like not wanting to talk about past relationships or plastic surgery, or whatever. And she's like, I'm just here to promote this movie, and I'm just here to promote this, and. And even when Jenny brought up her being on a reality show, she's like, I don't want to talk about this. I'm like, she is just a train wreck.
Right.
I mean, Tara Reid is. I mean, at the height of her career, when she was like doing like the American Pie films and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard about her like drinking a lot and getting drunk and shit like that. But I can clearly see that it's clearly gone to her head. You know, I mean, she is. I mean, I've lost a lot of respect for her. I mean, granted, she still is a nice piece of ass. But whenever you see her on TMZ or you see her like, you know, I mean, it's like it's almost like she's always drunk or something. You know, I mean, and even on Reality Marriage Boot Camp, you know, she refused to do an exercise with puppets, and she was like, and she made up a lie saying like, "Oh, I'm afraid of puppets" or whatever. And I was just like, "Fuck you."
Right. So yeah, clearly there's things that she wasn't able to give up, and things that that were more important for her than having an honorable career. So yeah, that's really unfortunate. And at some point, if you were her friend, at some point you would probably have to tell her to screw off.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's never going to be famous like she used to be. I mean, she'll always be remembered for The Big Lebowski, which was the movie that kind of introduced her to the world, and then
of course,
the American Pie films,
and
Josie and the Pussycats, and the Van Wilder,
Van Wilder too. Okay.
The Van Wilder Goes to College or whatever, and also the same thing with Lindsay Lohan. I mean,
I was about to say Lindsay,
yeah, she's such a train wreck, especially that latest thing. Breaking up with her fiance, that whole thing, and then there's the video of him trying to take his cell phone, and like she just went on a Twitter rant and saying like, oh, he's abusive, he cheated on me with hookers.
I've tried not to keep up with it lately, but I the last thing I remember was the whole when she had, I don't know if it's the same guy, when she had like broken up with him, but then was like trying to get back, and they were in the I read the tabloids at that point. There was reports that they were in the hotel room and running up and down the stairs. She was chasing him up and down the stairs and like stuff, and people thought she was either drunk or on coke. And anyway,
and then also she even wrote that she even tweeted out that she was pregnant. I mean, but then there's she's on the she's in like someplace in Europe on a boat. And yet she's drinking a beer and she's got a cigarette in her mouth. It's like, you say that you're pregnant, but yet you're smoking. Right. And also, she has asthma, so it's like, well, wait a minute. And this was, I mean, everyone known for years that she has asthma, but it's like, okay, if you have asthma, why do you continue to smoke? Dumb bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that's something else you should have put on down. Yep. As the song "Me, Myself, and I" goes, I just want to be free. I just want to be me. Plus a whole lot of tree. Fuck fake friends. That's what he says at one point. So yeah, there you go. And that song's actually about how he actually says at one point, everyone says how this lifestyle is dangerous. That song is actually about how the life of fame and glory can actually be really dangerous, and you have to be careful about the associations you have, and and if you want to just be left alone, that's probably a good instinct. So it really comes down to what's not working in your life anymore. What is not working for you? And so that, like I said, that could be many things. That could be something you're addicted to. That could be something that's just taking your time. That could be friends that don't respect you, or it's not a two-way street. It's a one-way street. You know what I mean? Anything like that. You have to. It's not just the let's walk and get out the door. Yes, it's that, but you also can't walk as fast if you have things weighing you down, right?
Well, Oh yeah, exactly.
Imagine all those all those clingy friends, all those whatever. Imagine they're actually holding onto your ankles as you walk. Then you can't walk as fast to where. So no matter how much you're struggling to go forward, I'm going to go and get that thing. That you're focusing on the wrong thing. You actually should be trying to get those people's arms out from your ankles, and whatever weights are around your ankles off, so you can walk faster.
Yeah, exactly. And also getting back to Lindsay Lohan thing. Yeah, she's been sober from drugs and stuff like that, but still, it's just this whole thing. It really has ruined her career. I looked on Wikipedia and there's like a list of like movies she's supposed to be in and stuff like that. But it's like looking at it, it's like I don't know if they're ever gonna come out or whatever, but I don't ever see her ever becoming that big of an actress again. I could probably see her making some guest appearances.
Right.
I don't think she.
And that's also really unfortunate. That's the unfortunate thing. She this is not like fighting. We've talked about before in fighting that they have very young retirements, and I was shocked when you told me how young. It was the big fight in 2015.
Rob, what big?
In Vegas, everyone was there.
Oh yeah, Manny Pacquiao.
Thank you. Mayweather. Yeah, I was shocked to hear how young Mayweather was and is retiring. And anyway, I've learned now that yes, they have very short careers, but
his body was breaking down too.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't always keep up with that, and your body breaks down. But these are actors, these are actresses, and you think of you think of Robert Redford, you think of Clint Eastwood, you think of I forget who else I'm thinking of right now, but
Goldie Hawn.
Sure, Goldie Hawn. Yes, you think of Meryl Streep. She still has many good movies ahead of her, and so you think of all of that. These people are supposed to have long, prosperous careers. And to think that it's already over for someone as young as Lindsay Lohan, that is a shame. That is a travesty.
Yeah, I could probably see her like having her own like sitcom or whatever, but like or doing like a
right. But that's not the same thing to an actor or actress. That's not the same thing to have a sitcom as to have a great film career.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, she still has a nice piece of ass. She was hotter like back when I was in high school and stuff. With the teenage drama queens and the mean girls and shit.
Yeah.
And then of course she turns 18. She's doing drugs and smoke. She's caught smoking, and she's dated some of these guys.
Oh yeah, speaking of things that don't work for you, sometimes people. This is actually a great example. Thank you. Sometimes people that seem to be on your side and will actually fight other people at every turn for you. Sometimes those people actually don't work for you anymore.
Oh, like her parents.
Her parents. I was going to say that the fact that her mother. There's many rumors about her mother that her mother took her freebie for ice cream and such. But there's things that do seem to be true about her mother that. When that video came out that seemed to prove that Lindsay was doing coke, her mother immediately took to the airwaves and didn't apologize, didn't even say it was untrue. I don't think. Actually said that whoever filmed her should be punished. Whoever filmed her should be punished. Oh, the fact that she was doing coke wasn't snorting it was not a bad thing, but whoever filmed her should be reprimanded, please. So anyway, that just sounds terrible, and that does no favors to Lindsay, even though it's again, that's someone who is on her side every step of the way, and yet is doing terrible things for her.
Yeah, I mean, it gets to the point where even like your friends in Hollywood who try to help you, like they don't even want to fuck with you anymore. I don't think like Lauren Michaels from Saturday Night Live. I mean, she's also Saturday Night Live dozens of times. In fact, she's actually one of the best hosts of Saturday Night Live ever. But I don't think they're gonna want to reach out and help her now.
Good point. Yes.
And
and that was a very important lifeline to have, and she probably doesn't have it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the last time she was there, I remember she did that one bit where her and Kel were like trying to do that scared straight thing.
Oh yeah.
and they did the talked about Kay Jewelers, and they did every kiss begins with rape. I still laugh at that. I still laugh at that whenever I think about it.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway. I mean, and that's the other thing too, is that not only do sometimes the bad people cling to you, or defend you in ways that do not help, like Lindsay Lohan's mother, but also if you keep going the way you're going, in this case, the good people will not want to be around you anymore. They'll stop doing business with you, all of that stuff, and we've seen that happen in Hollywood, and we've seen that happen in, especially the like high end financial sector, and whatever. We've seen all of that happen as well. So that's part of it. The good people, the good connections, in this case, will actually get you a lot farther. She could, be back on Saturday Night Live. She could be back in the movies, right? She knew which ones were actually good people that will get her further in what's left of her career, but she doesn't know that anymore, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think her acting career is done. I mean, good luck trying to get a TV series at this point. I mean, it's over. I mean, granted, but who knows? I mean, maybe she'll do like Sharknado 18 or.
Yep, maybe. But anyway, that's what it comes down to. You should not just be reaching for something, which is important, but also letting go of the things you don't need, and like I used the walking analogy before. If there's someone holding onto your legs, that doesn't work. But also, use the hot air balloon analogy. If there's too much weighing you down in the hot air balloon, you're not going to go that high. So you have to throw some things overboard, and then guess what happens? You know what I mean? Then you can rise to the heights you were meant to reach.
Exactly. Just stay off the cocaine and don't do Sharknado movies.
All right.
Now it's time for Chew on This, and we're going to talk more about what Conor McGregor said about the WWE, and also a little update on the 50 wrestlers who are suing the WWE, ex-wrestlers and stuff. Actually, it turns out Sabu, who was one of the names that I mentioned on there, he's actually not suing the WWE. He said, like, I don't know why my name is on there.
Really?
Yeah, but that's good for Sabu, because Sabu, he's really not the type of person that would sue anybody. But anyways, I mean, what Conor McGregor said about WWE wrestlers being pussies, and and he even said, like, look, I would, I'll stop chopping off heads if I ever came to WWE, in their locker room and stuff. I mean, for the most part, he kind of would, but for the wrestlers, like, to do what they do, especially on a 300 day schedule, being out on the road and taking bumps in the ring, and putting themselves through tables and getting hit with chairs, and and doing all this stuff. I mean, you can't call them pussies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I might not, I definitely remember I was part of that culture in middle school that both loved and hated the WWE, and part of it, was like the kids said it was so badass, and yeah, it is, but then but then other people are like, oh, it's completely fake, this and that. I mean, so even if there are some tricks to it, there might be some tricks, where it's not the actual full weight of the chair coming down on their body. Let's actually hope so. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean it's not any less of a danger to them. In fact, if when we first started this show, I would say that I was still pretty ignorant to all the ins and outs of that, and I actually probably would have said that it would be more dangerous to be in the WWE just because of the fact that there's foreign objects, there's chairs, and other such things that might hit you. Now I'm pretty sure that that
well, the thumbtacks they use sometimes in wrestling. They use sometimes in wrestling matches. Those thumbtacks are real. I mean, you can't fake a thumbtack.
Right, exactly. So anyway, that's and I think there's a fair amount of people out there that might think the same thing. Like, as kind of like hyped up as it is, as fake as the fans of UFC might think that it is. Well, in the WWE, there's actually crazy objects that could be thrown at you, or like you said, thumbtacks, could be pointed into you. That never happens in UFC and MMA. So
yeah, and also some of these pro wrestlers are athletes. I mean, some of them have played other sports before.
Right.
Like for example, Nia Jax, who wrestles in NXT, the WWE's training system, and stuff. And also, she actually got called up to Monday Night Raw. She's she's a former basketball player. She's also the cousin of The Rock.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, another member of the Samoan family in there.
Yes, exactly.
And Roman Reigns, a former football player. He's also trained in some boxing, so he's legitimately tough.
Right.
The Rock's nephew, by the way.
Right.
And Samoa Joe, he's he did judo when he was a kid. He played football. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he's actually trained in striking and stuff like that. I mean, Rob Van Dam, he's a martial artist too, Taekwondo for years. So, I mean, you can't say that but some of them can fight, and some of them, you can beat up most of them for the most part, but even the ones who probably won't win against a Conor McGregor or a Cain Velasquez or a John Jones, they'll put up a good fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, and I mean, I don't know. I think to focus on like, I understand that there's like misconceptions, in all areas of what they're actually capable of. So I think you're focusing on a misconception of the WWE, and what they do, and this guy's saying, oh, they're not actually doing that, blah blah, whereas UFC, you have to be tough and actually tough it out. The other thing is, though, I mean, a lot of people know that, for instance, Van Damme was an actor. A lot of people know Stallone's an actor, Schwarzenegger back in the day, but they would still buy into the whole thing of, oh, how tough he is. You know what I mean? So that's a whole different thing. Like, that's kind of like the same head of the opposite coin. Like, that's actually giving him credit for being tough when really he only does it in the movies. You know what I mean?
But Van Damme also, he's a black belt in Taekwondo, and he's done like point karate.
Well, there you go.
He's a real legitimate badass.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, but that's the same thing. In my opinion, that's the same thing as these WWE guys who have been actually trained, like you were just talking about.
some have a fighting background and stuff, including you remember did you ever watch ECW back in the day?
Probably not. No.
Okay, well you remember Taz, right? Yeah, I mean Taz, he's a black belt in judo, and he did a little amateur wrestling too, and played some football.
Yeah.
And in fact, but I've heard people on shoot interviews and stuff say that, like, yeah, he has that background, but he says that behind the scenes, he really wasn't tough. It's just that, he was given a push by Paul Lee. Paul Heyman was giving him a push, and then he started he started doing the Mike Tyson thing, by having like Team Taz come out, like Team Tyson coming out. He'd come out with a towel on his head, and he'd be in the ring. He'd be doing the neck twitch. Yeah, New Jack calls it the Brooklyn Twitch.
The Brooklyn Twitch.
Yeah, that neck twitch that Tyson used to do. And New Jack said like, yeah, Tyson, he was doing that in the beginning, but then after he started getting his ass stomped, that twitch got straightened the fuck up, and he didn't do it anymore.
Interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I mean the thing is, you don't really know what their background could be in. Like I was just saying, with action movie stars, they could just be doing it as an actor, but some of them are given that actual credit. Like, ooh, you don't mess with them. But they might just be an actor, even if they're well trained for the scene. Like you've pointed out, that's very different than being actually well trained, like we've talked about, like Van Damme is. But some of them aren't, and I really wonder about, who is it? Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris, when you take off his beard, there's only another fist.
Right.
So, I mean, do we actually know his true fighting ability? I don't know.
Well, yeah. No, he's if you look on YouTube, you'll see him doing some kickboxing. He's did some karate fights and stuff like that. I mean,
right.
He's also a legitimate badass.
Okay, all right. Point taken. But I'm just saying, I'm sure that there are some that are given that credit, even though they don't actually deserve it under this scrutiny. So if we're going to be talking about the WWE, then then it's hypocritical to say that you should never do the same thing for WWE fighters if they're not actually trained in real fighting. An actor can be given that same credit without being trained that way either. So
yeah, I mean, because listen, I mean because also the other thing is some of those, I mean, those wrestlers, they can beat us up.
Right.
I mean, like if we like went up to John Cena, it was like, yo, John, man, you a pussy, man. You a pussy.
Yeah.
You ain't really tough. You know what? I will take your bitch, Nikki Bella, and I'm gonna fuck her. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, we gonna be getting our ass stomped.
Yep.
Well, actually, I'll be getting my ass stomped for saying that. Because you will have no interest in Nikki. But I know we gonna get our ass stomped.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, that's like the thing that I always think of when I hear people saying, like, oh, well, these fighters, these actors, whatever, aren't really tough. Well, would you go up to them and talk some shit? No, probably not. Even if they're like, I'm sure you could think of some examples of WWE fighters that don't actually have great training.
Well, like I said, John Cena. I mean, Triple H, he's been training in boxing for a while now. I think he's been training in it for like maybe 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? They can whoop my ass.
Mm-hmm.
They can whoop my ass.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, but if you put him in the cage with John Jones, or if you put him in a boxing ring with Gennady Golovkin, they're gonna get an ass whooping.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that's two different things, and it might be fine to point out that that up against one of the UFC fighters be a different story, but if you're willing to glass house stones, if you're willing to say that they're a pussy, that indicates they're a pussy in everything, and oh, really? Would you go up and talk some shit to them? Yeah, probably not. You know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from about that.
Well, Conor McGregor, he'll definitely talk some shit, but he can definitely back it up. I mean, one, he's a tough Irish guy, and plus he's got those karate kicks and stuff like that, and he's got some good jiu-jitsu. So
well, he's another fighter. That's not that's good, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all these other people that are willing to say shit. Well, even if even if these WWE guys can't stand up to people trained in MMA, it doesn't mean that someone off the street like you who's insulting them wouldn't get an ass whooping.
Yeah, exactly, and also nowadays, because also WWE is a publicly traded company, you can't. They can't get into fights. They can't get into fights with guys in the bars and stuff. Like, you could have done it back in the day, but now because of corporate America, and plus we live in a time where everybody sues everybody. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good point. So you're saying that if some doofus challenged them, they would. I think even back in the day they would try and not get into it. But you're saying that they actually can't get into it now because of the network's reputation, etc.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's going to be lawsuits. They're going to be and then those pussies who challenge them, they really wind up being the pussies because they're all like, I'm suing. I have to miss work for a month. My back hurts.
Right, exactly.
I got a black eye. My woman won't fuck me because I lost the fight.
Right, but yeah, that's a good point. That they'll definitely be trying to whine all the way to the bank. But yeah, it's you should have thought of that before you talked shit to a major wrestler.
Exactly. But then but you can't call the wrestlers pussies. I mean, like, some of them can't fight. They can't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. But you can't call them pussies because of what they do. I mean, like, I have a whole lot of respect for them.
Right. Totally.
Exactly. And we're gonna end the show right there.
Yep.
Look us up on Facebook, and also I'll be doing a blog today.
Cool.
And next week we'll be doing a special edition of our show where we do a countdown of UFC 202, McGregor versus DS2, the rematch.
All right, awesome.
All right, so from BeanTown to your town, this is the BeanTown Beatdown. Matthew Barris,
Gabe Shamus,
Vios con Dios.